to my channel. My name is Rosie with Sew Stitch and Cold, and today's bag is a really fun bag, and it is the LindSling backpack by Linds Handmade. Isn't it cute? I love this bag. And in honor of May the 4th be with you, I thought I would choose this pattern to showcase my fabric that I've been hoarding for quite a while. I don't even know how long I've had this fabric. I just haven't had the heart to cut into it. But it is May the 4th, and I thought it would be perfect to finally cut into it and use this fun pattern by Linds. And take a look at that. Isn't that cute? They're so cute. So I believe this fabric is from Backstitch. I want to say it's Backstitch. So it may not be available for purchase because a lot of these types of fabrics are a pre-order, and so you may just not be able to find it. But there are some custom fabric groups out there on Facebook that you can get on there and ask, and someone may just sell it to you. There are so many people that hoard this fabric, including myself, that someone will sell it to you for the right price. So go check out those fabric groups. I can probably try to link them in the description. I don't know, I'll see if I can do that. Let's go over some of the features of the bag. It does have 2 side pockets, and the main compartment is accessed through the back. So the side pockets zip down from the top to the bottom, and they do not go through to the inside of the bag. So isn't that cool? And so the other side pocket is the same way. Just a pocket to put all your smaller items in. And then the back side of the bag is where you have access to the main compartment, which is extremely roomy. It seems like a small bag, like it's not super big, but it's like really, really roomy. It's a ton of room in there. And I would say that you can put a large water bottle in there, your wallet, keys, snacks even, and go on with your day. So that's it. That is all that's going on in this bag. It seems simple, but it's super functional, and there's tons of room in here. So don't let its size fool you. Tons of room in this bag. The hardware for this bag, there's just not a lot going on for the hardware either, which is nice. We have 3 zipper pulls, 3 zippers, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. That's it. And then for the hardware for our strap, you have 1 slider, 1 swivel, and I used 2 D-rings because I put 2 D-rings on all of my slings, so you can have the option of wearing it on either side. And I always switch sides all the time, so depending on what I'm doing. And that's it. That is the bag. The inside does get finished off with binding, which is on this back panel right here. So that is all the binding on this bag. I strongly encourage everybody to try new things, and binding might be one for you. Give it a try. Binding gives such awesome structure to bags, and I do feel like they are probably the best option for backpacks, because backpacks need that structure to kind of hold them up, but they're still squishy. Like, this bag is still squishy. You can still squish this up and like put it away somewhere, and then it bounces right back, like any backpack, right? Most backpacks are finished off with binding, and I think there's a reason for that. So give this bag a try. Don't be afraid, because it is finished off with binding. There is no birthing method for this bag, so if you want to make it, that's how you got to do it. But I'm going to show you how to do it today. So I did interface my exterior fabric, because it's a cotton lycra, with a cotton woven and some Deco-Vel light. And I kept my Deco-Vel light out of the seams, and the fabric does suggest a fusible fleece, but I went with Deco-Vel light. I love using Deco-Vel light. I feel like it does the job. I don't know, I like it. I know it's expensive, so it's not for everyone. So do the fusible fleece if that's what you have. It is a more affordable option, and it gives it the bag the same look, just a different feel, I would say. But other than that, no, there's nothing wrong with fusible fleece, so follow the pattern the way it was written. My interior is made with waterproof canvas, so that's not interfaced. You just cut and go on. And so yeah, this bag is a pretty quick sew in my opinion. There aren't a ton of pattern pieces, which is nice. So not a lot to keep track of. And other than that, that's it. This bag is not super labor intensive and it's a fun sew. So let's get started with this bag and let's have fun. Okay, let's get started by going over our pattern pieces. So here I have my main panel and all of my exterior pieces are the cotton lycra. So I have interfaced my cotton lycra. All of my cotton lycra is interfaced with a woven interfacing. And I chose to use Decoville Light and keep it out of my seam allowances. The reason why I chose Decoville Light and not 2 layers of a woven interfacing and fusible fleece is because I just like Decoville Light. And nothing wrong with a fusible fleece. I feel like it gives it a little bit more of a squishy bag. So if that's what you're going for, then use the fusible fleece like it suggests in the pattern. You'll be just fine. The bag will turn out with perfect structure. I just wanted to use Decoville Light just to see actually what it would turn out like, really. And I like Decoville Light. I like the way it makes fabric feel. So all of my exterior pieces are interfaced in that manner. And the Decoville Light is cut out of my seam allowances. So here I have my exterior and my lining, which all of my lining is a waterproof canvas. And this is our main pattern piece. Here is our back panel. And on the back panel, the pattern it states to cut it in a very specific way. So you want to pay attention to that when cutting this part. Here is my exterior piece, and your exterior piece is going to be cut from the bottom right corner to the top left corner. So it'll give you this. So it's cut from the bottom right to the top left, just like the pattern piece. Looks just like that. So then we have our lining piece, which also needs to be cut that way, but it's being cut mirrored. So you're going to cut that piece from the bottom left corner to the top right corner. So you want to make sure that that is how you cut these 2 pieces, so you don't end up cutting them the same way and then you're in the pattern and you're like, oh no, I cut it the wrong direction. So just make sure that you cut them mirrored. So now we have our side pocket panels or side zipper pockets, sorry. And along this curve is where our zipper goes. You want to make sure that if you're using a directional fabric like I am, that you keep your pattern pieces in this orientation to make sure that you don't mix them up and then your design is upside down. You don't want that to happen. So make sure that as you're going along and you're sewing, you keep your pattern pieces like this as she suggests in the pattern, to keep from confusion and mixing them up, because they do look the same and you can very easily mix them up. So try to keep it all in the same direction. And so I will keep my left with my left, right with the right. All of our side pocket zipper pockets will have 3 lining pieces. So on my left has 3 and on my right has 3. And then we have our strap topper, and I have 2 pieces of my exterior cut out for that. Our zipper tabs. So there are 2 types of zipper tabs. So we have a more rectangular shape and then this triangular type shape. There are 4 pieces of your exterior and 4 pieces of your lining for these zipper tabs. These zipper tabs are going to be the ones for our larger zippers, which are for our side zipper pockets. And then we have 2 exterior cuts of our other zipper tabs and 2 lining of the rectangular shaped zipper tab. And this will be for the zipper that goes along the back side, which actually is right along this side. Okay, so the hardware that we will be needing for this bag is pretty minimal. So we will be needing a 1.5 inch wide webbing or some type of strap for your shoulder strap. I'm using just a regular polypropylene webbing for my strap. And we are also going to be binding this bag. There's only one small section of binding, so it's not bad. I do encourage you to try the bag. It's super easy. It's not scary. So you will be needing binding, and I am using waterproof canvas. I cut it at 1-inch strips, the full length of the fabric, to get nice long strips to work with. For our hardware, we will need 1 slider, 1 swivel hook, and technically only 1 D-ring, but I always use 2 on my bags because I may sell them, or if they're for myself, I even like to change the side that I'm wearing my bag. We have 3 zippers, and there will be 2 longer zippers, which are cut to the same size, and 1 shorter zipper. All the sizes and dimensions will be in the pattern, so please refer to the pattern for those sizes. And you'll need 3 zipper pulls, which I've already attached. Here I have 3 cuts of webbing, and this is for our grab handle, and these 2 smaller cuts are for our D-rings. So that is everything we need to make this bag, so let's get started. So now we are going to prep our zippers. So grab all of your zippers. If you haven't already added your zipper pulls, go ahead and do so. And grab your zipper tabs. So here I have my tapered zipper tabs, which you should have 4 of your exterior, 4 of your lining. And the rectangular zipper tabs, you should have 2 of your exterior and 2 of your lining. So we'll do our longer zippers first. So our shorter zipper is the one that's going to have the rectangular ones. So what we're going to do, one at a time here, we're going to go exterior right side down on top of the zipper. And on the other side of the zipper, we're going to go right side down on the back side of the zipper. So everything is right sides together. So when you open it up like this, you will have your right sides out when you go to press them away from the zipper. Same thing on the other side. Exterior, right side down. Flip your zipper over. Lining, right side to wrong side. And clip. So do this with all of your zippers. Okay, now my zippers are prepped. This is what we will have. 1/2-inch seam allowance. Press away from the zipper. So then they will be wrong sides together. Just like that. And then we're going to top stitch along this edge at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Alright, we've gone ahead and top stitched our zippers, and the one thing you want to make sure is that your 2 longer zippers are a full length of 18 inches for both. That is very important in the pattern to make sure that they are exactly 18 inches, and your shorter zipper be 15 inches from end to end once you have top stitched. Okay, so now we're going to set these aside. Now we're going to start making our strap topper. And so what you're going to need is your 2 strap toppers, your 1.5-inch webbing for your strap. You're going to need a ruler, a marking pen, and some clips. So what we're going to do is that we're going to lay one of our strap toppers facing up, and we are going to grab one edge of our webbing, of the shorter edge, and we're going to measure 1 inch in from the edge. And we're going to make a mark. See if this pen will, if I can see that pen, I don't know. That's good enough. It's there. Just like that. So we measure 1 inch in, make a mark, and then what we're going to do is that we're going to lay our webbing sticking out, centered on this top strap topper, and I flip it over to see, because where I have made my markings, I can kind of center it that way from behind, and then make sure it's at my 1 inch mark. So we want our webbing to be sticking out 1 inch from the top of our strap topper piece. And then we're going to place a clip so it doesn't move. Roll this up, and I'm going to put a clip on here so it kind of stays in place. And then we're going to grab our other strap topper, and we're going to flip it right side down, and we're going to sandwich that webbing in the middle. So we line up our raw edges, place our clips, and then what we're going to do is that we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew along the left, across the top, and down the right side at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Alright, we have that sewn, and now we're going to trim down our seam allowance without cutting our webbing. So grab a pair of scissors, trim down your seam allowance to about 1/4 inch, making sure not to cut your webbing. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to flip it out, and we're going to top stitch along the left, over the top, and down the right. So let's flip this right side out. And use my little Allen wrench here to kind of smooth out those corners. So once you have that turned out, you can clip away your little triangles. And we are going to top stitch from the left, across the top, down the right at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then from that 1/8 inch top stitch, you can do another second row of stitching a 1/4 inch away from that to do a second row of stitching all the way around the left, all across the top, and down the right again if you'd like to. It's optional, it's up to you. So let's go to the machine and top stitch. Okay, we've top stitched that, and I did 2 rows of top stitching. Probably really hard to see, my thread really matches. Alright, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to grab our grab handle. We're going to need a marking pen, a ruler, and some clips. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our ruler, and we're going to mark 1 inch from each edge. So 1 inch from here. Probably should use a marking pen, I could see a little better. And then 1 inch from this side. And then you're going to grab your grab handle, and you're going to loop it, and make sure that it's in one straight loop and not, you know, like this. And you're going to line up your edges on the inside of that mark that we made. And we're going to place a clip. So grab your other side, line it up with that other line that we made, 1 inch from the side, and place a clip. Okay, just like that. We're going to go ahead and baste that at the machine, and then we're going to set it aside. Basted that on, just like that, and now we're going to set this aside and move on to our next step. So now grab your back panels, your exterior and lining pieces, and your shorter zipper. So this is a zipper that's going to be on the back panel. First, if you have not cut your diagonal cuts on your back pieces yet, go ahead and do so now. Make sure that they are cut mirrored to each other. So the exterior pieces are cut from the bottom right corner to the top left corner, and the lining pieces are cut from the bottom left corner to the upper right corner. So make sure that those are cut in this way. So then once you've done that, you take your pieces and you go from end to end, so your one corner piece to the top, and you're going to mark your centers on this long edge. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and do that right now. And you want to do it to all your pieces along that long edge, just like that. I have mine done already. So if you haven't done so, go ahead and do that right now. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to work on just our left bottom exterior piece. So I'm going to move these aside, and we're going to work with our zipper and our left to bottom exterior piece. And what we're going to do is that we're going to grab our zipper, and you want to make sure that your pull is on the top so it opens to the bottom, closes to the top. We're going to flip it right side down so right sides are together. Oh, I did not find my centers on my zipper. That would be helpful. Zipper is at the top where it closes to the top. Right side down, right sides together, so zipper right side down. Find my center. So that's my center. Oh, I need to find my centers on this side. Sorry. We need the centers on that side too. So mark your centers along the long edge where you cut as well. We're going to need those also. So you'll have center marks on this long edge and center marks on this long edge. So let's place our zipper, match our centers, and place some clips. Grab my clips and start clipping. So I mark my center clip first, and I'll move to my bottom, matching our raw edges. And I do the top, and then I'll place a few more clips to make sure nothing shifts. And what you can do in this step is that you can grab your lining and sandwich your lining right now, or you can go to the machine like I'm gonna do and baste this in place. Alright, we've basted that on, so now I'm gonna grab my lining piece. I'm going to flip it upside down so we have it right side down. And we're going to line up our edges. Probably should find my centers. So there we go. We're going to line up our centers. Right side down. And we're going to clip. Go to one end. And we're going to clip. Go to the other end, place a clip, and then clip the edge. And we are going to go and take this to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew this at a a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, we've got that sewn down at a 1/4 inch, and now what we're going to do is that we're going to pull both panels away from the zipper, and we are going to press them nicely. So you're going to press this all away from your zipper, and then we're going to top stitch at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance along our edge, right along the zipper, right along here. We've gotten that top stitched, and now what we're going to do is that we're going to grab our other 2 triangle pieces, and we're going to work with our exterior first. So I'm going to grab this piece, and I'm going to find my centers, and I'm going to match my centers up with the zipper right side down on the exterior triangle piece that we have left. So we find our centers. So we're repeating the same exact thing on the other side of our zipper. Finish clipping, and I'm going to do this just like I did the first time, and I'm going to baste it on first, and then I will come back, place my lining, and then sew it at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm gonna go baste this on first along our edge, and then we'll come back, add our lining just like we did on the other side, and then you sew that on at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, and just like we did last time, we press our fabrics away, our panels, sorry, and then go to the iron, give it a nice press. This is what you should have. So just like that. So I'm gonna go give this a nice press, and we're going to top stitch along this edge. Once I get it nicely pushed there, we're gonna top stitch along this edge at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. We're done top stitching, so now we're gonna round our corners. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna take a pair of scissors, and we're gonna round our corners. Doesn't need to be perfect. We just don't want this to be square. We want them to be round. So I got that one rounded off. Round off the other side, okay? And then what we're gonna do is that we're gonna take our opposite ends, fold it in half, and use these rounded corners to round off the opposite edge. So just like that, around the opposite edge. Corners are rounded off. So now grab your D-rings and your last 2 pieces of webbing for your D-rings, which are your strap connectors. And we are going to thread one of those through the D-ring, and we're going to fold it in half along the D-ring, just like that. And I'm going to place a clip, and I'm going to baste these first. And we're going to do the same, thread it through, pinch them together, lining up the raw edges. Place a clip, and I'm going to take these to the machine, and I'm going to baste these closed along the edge, and then we're going to come back and add them to our panel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to burn my ends, although I already have. I just want to make sure that I burn my ends. So if you're using webbing like I am, make sure you burn your ends to prevent any fraying. Now we're going to grab a ruler, and we're going to measure 2 inches up from this bottom edge. So this is our top, this is our bottom, and I'm going to measure 2 inches from the bottom edge, and I'm going to mark right where that 2-inch line is on both sides, since I'm doing 2 D-rings. And then we're going to line up our D-rings lined up right on. So if your line's right here, you want to line it up right on it. And we're going to place a clip. Oh, and you want to slightly overhang it, just slightly. So here's my other edge. Whoop, inside, D-rings facing in. Slightly overhang, clip. Make sure those are nice and even. And then we're going to take these to the machine, and we are going to baste them on, and then we're going to set this panel aside. So now we're going to assemble the interior of the bag. So we're going to be working with our left side pocket, our right side pocket, and our main body pieces. So what we're going to do is that we're going to make sure that we're working in this orientation. Right, left, main body. So we're going to take away our exterior pieces right now, because we're going to be working with our interior portion, which is our liners. And we're going to take away one of these and one of our liners. And I'm going to leave this as my left sides together. Take away my exterior and one of my liners and move this to the side. Then I'm gonna take my main body panel and move that to the side as well. So now what we have is our main body lining piece and 2 lining pieces for our right side and 2 lining pieces for our left side. And what we want to do is that starting with our right side, we are going to make sure we find our centers because I have not done that on my lining pieces. So all of my centers are now clipped, and now we can start working on our interior. So we're going to take our right side and we are going to take our liners and we're going to join them wrong sides together. So this is my wrong side, that's my right side. So I'm going to take them wrong sides together and I'm going to clip them together so they just stay together. And then I'm going to do the same with my left side. So now starting with the right side, I'm going to always go right then left, right then left. So we're going to take our centers on our rounded side and center on the long side of our main body panel, and we're going to flip them together just like this and clip right at the center. So you're taking both lining pieces at the same time and clipping them together to your main body liner. So right here I have 1, 2, they're wrong sides together. That's why I clipped them together here. And then we found our centers on the rounded side and clipped right at the centers. So now we're going to take this bottom edge and we're going to join it with these 2 edges and we're going to place a clip. Okay, and then we're going to do the same on the other side and clip. So now we're going to continue clipping around this rounded edge. Okay, so once you have gotten it clipped, we're going to go to the machine and base this on at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, we have basted this edge and now we're going to do the same exact thing with the left side. Okay, we've basted both sides on and now our interior is complete. So we're going to set this aside and we're going to move on to the next step. So now we're going to work with our side zipper pockets. So remember, we're working in this orientation, left, right. So I'm going to start with my right and then we're going to do our left. So we have our remaining 2 zippers and we're going to need some double-sided sticky tape. I have an 1/8 inch right here, and then you'll need some clips. Starting with finding our centers actually. So I've got my centers cut out on my zippers, and you want your zippers oriented also with your zipper pulls on top. So we're going to start with our right side, then work on our left. And I'm going to work on this first. So here I have my exterior and my lining for my right side. I'm going to move my lining to the side. I'm going to grab some double-sided sticky tape. And I am going to work with my panel this direction. And I'm going to lay double-sided sticky tape around this curve. And this is going to help me put my, my zipper tape in place. So we're going to put double-sided sticky tape all the way around. Okay, I have double-sided sticky tape all the way around my curve. And now I'm going to peel this off. And we're going to lay our zipper. So we're going to make sure that my zipper pull is on the right side. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use this top portion. So when you turn your zipper, so I have my zipper pull on the right side. I'm going to turn it around, and this top portion is what I'm going to line up and find my centers on. So just like that. And then I'm going to find my ends, and then I'm going to ease in the rest of the zipper tape onto this. If you unzip it, it will help. So I'm going to unzip it and then finish placing the zipper tape on to the double-sided sticky tape. Now that we've gotten our zipper tape in place, now we're going to grab our remaining lining piece and we're going to go right sides together. So we're going to turn it around, find our centers, joining them right sides together, and we're going to clip at our center, sandwich that zipper in between, clip our ends and the other end, and then we're going to finish clipping around the curve. And then we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to sew this at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So now I've got it clipped all the way around. So this is what you should have. The wrong side of your exterior, wrong side of your lining, clipped all the way around, and we're going to sew along this edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Alright, so we've sewn that on at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I had to go back and sew it again with a zipper foot. So if you have a zipper foot, I suggest using it so you can get nice and close to that zipper. So now let's turn this right side out. And we are going to top stitch along the zipper. So give this a nice press. Take it to your iron and give it a nice press. And we're going to sew at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, top stitching along this rounded edge. Alright, so our right side zipper pocket is now top stitched, and our zipper pull is at the top where it should be, while closed and while open at the bottom. So now we're going to repeat the same exact steps on the left side. We are now done top stitching and finishing our right and left side zipper pockets. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to baste along the raw straight edge just to close that up. We're going to do it on both pockets, and then we're going to move on to our next step. Okay, so now we are going to work on adding our side zipper pockets and our main body liner to the bag. So here I have my main body exterior, and I'm going to add my bag tag. So if you have any bag tags or any type of tag you want to add to the main body, now would be a good time to do it. And in the pattern it suggests to go at least 4 inches from the top. And if you're going to put your bag tag on the bottom, to go at least 6 inches from the bottom, because there's a curve at the bottom, and if you put it any lower you won't see your bag tag. So that is her suggestions, and I'm going to take her suggestions, and I'm going to go 4 inches from the top, and I am going to center my bag tag 4 inches from the top. Alright, so that's in there now, and I'm going to place my washer. And then I'm going to cover this up with some duct tape. Place it there. And I use this Gorilla duct tape stuff. I don't know, I found it in my husband's garage, so I took it. And now nice and centered, and now we're going to move on. So we're going to take our right side. So again, we're going to start with our right side, and we are going to flip it this direction, and we are going to unzip our zipper. So make sure your zipper pulls up top. Unzip my zipper. I'm going to turn it this direction so I can see what I'm doing, and I am going to, probably shouldn't do that, lay some double-sided sticky tape. And if you have 1/8 inch double-sided sticky tape, this will stay out of your seam allowances and won't gunk up your sewing needle. Okay, and then we're going to find our centers. And our centers here, can barely see it, there it is. And then we are going to line this up carefully and just continue to line this up all the way. So now we have that there. Close that back up, and then we're going to take our lining that we did earlier, and this is our right side, so this is the inside of our lining. This is the wrong side, so we want to flip it to where it's our wrong side, just like that. And unless you're adding pockets, there is no direction it needs to be in, so as long as you have the wrong side out. So then we're going to take the right side and we are going to flatten it like this and find our edge right there, and we're going to join it with our zipper. I'll probably just unzip that again. Okay, so we have our wrong side. Grab this side and find our center and place a clip. And then we're going to go to the end. And right where I have that clip is where I'm going to put that. The other side, get it on there. There we go. And now finish clipping along this edge, and then we are going to go sew this at a quarter inch seam allowance. So this is what we have. I have my edge clipped all around. So this is our exterior and our lining. And so what we want to do is sew with the exterior up, so then that way we can make sure we can keep our exterior from pleating. So we're going to sew along this edge with the exterior facing up and just go slow. So we've got that sewn on, so now we're going to flip it right side out, and we're going to finger press this seam because we're not going to be top stitching this seam. Although it seems like you probably should, we're not. It's pretty difficult to top stitch the other side once the other side is on. So we're just going to finger press this the best we can, and we're going to take it to our iron and get this pressed as best as we can all along this edge right here. But this is what it should be looking like. So we have our right side on, just like that. Super cute. Yeah, I love that. Alright, so I'm going to take this to my iron and I'm going to press this as best we can before we move on to the next step. So I've gone ahead and pressed this edge as best as I could. And now I'm going to grab some more double-sided sticky tape. If you do this before this step, it'd be a lot easier. So when we had our main panel laying flat and I did this one side, do the other side also. Alright, I put the double-sided sticky tape on, and now we're going to peel that off. Okay, so this is what we have. We're going to grab our other side and we're going to flip it, open our zippers, and I'm going to turn it in this direction, and we're going to find our centers just like we did on the other side. And we're going to line up and tape our edges together. Alright, so that's now clipped on, And now what we're going to do is that we're going to pull our lining away. So this is what you should have. Just like this, and we're going to flip it around. And I'm going to close up this zipper. So this is what you should have. This is your lining, the inside of our lining, the outside of our exterior, right sides. Wrong sides. So this is what you should be seeing. So what we want to do now, so we want to push this side of the bag into the bag, onto our exterior portion here. And then we want to do the same with this side, which is already kind of doing that. So then we want to take these together. So we're going to grab the liner side and we're going to bring it to the edge of the zipper that we just taped. And it's going to get very scrunched up. That's what's supposed to happen. So we're going to take both of our centers. If I can find them, there they are. And we're going to clip them together. And I'm not sure if it's easier to unzip. I'm going to unzip it. Alright, so we're going to unzip it, push it towards the exterior. Grab our zipper side, our lining, and we are going to join those two right at the center and clip just like that. So we're going to form this cocoon looking shape. So now we're going to go to this end. We want to make sure that our ends are meeting up with our zipper tabs here. So we want our ends to meet up right there. Place a clip to the other side. Clip. Alright, so now we're going to continue clipping. This is what it should look like so far. Our liner is on this side. The rest of the bag is in the middle. And our exterior wrong side's on this side. So we're going to continue clipping. Alright, so this is what we got. Looks like a cocoon of some sorts. So now we are going to take this to the machine and we're going to sew, just like we did on the other side, at a 1/4 inch seam allowance all along this. I used a lot of clips. And we're going to do it with the exterior wrong side up to make sure that we are keeping things from getting pleated, since this is what we're going to see on the outside of our bag. So we want to make sure we go slow, we flatten as we go, and just sew along this edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And remember, go slow. Alright, we got her all sewn together and we've got this cocoonish looking thing here. So now what we're going to go do is I'm going to use my hair dryer. Linds makes a suggestion to use a hair dryer if you're using waterproof canvas or a vinyl to soften the material, to make the turning a lot easier. So I'm going to go blast it with my hair dryer. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to turn all of this through this hole. So if you're using materials that are a little heavier, like a vinyl, waterproof canvas can be a kind of stiff, but it does get nice and malleable when it's heated. So I'm going to go do that real quick and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I blasted it with my hair dryer. It's pretty soft now. So what we're going to do is that we're going to reach inside and we're going to carefully turn this bag out. did it. So, got it through there. Definitely using the hairdryer helped a lot. So this is what it's looking like so far. Super cute. And now we're gonna move on to the next step. Okay, so grab your clips, flip your bag right side down, and we're gonna clip our edges all the way around, and we're gonna baste them. Just place a few clips all the way around, and we're gonna go baste this edge closed. Alright, so we're clipped all the way around, and now we're going to baste this at 1/8 of an inch from the edge, all the way around. Alright, we've got that all basted in place now. Now we're going to turn this over, and we're going to grab the top part of our bag. So this is the top part of my bag, and we're going to use our topper, and we are going to do right sides down on the exterior, so right side to right sides together, and we're going to clip in place. And then we're going to go baste this in place at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Baste it on the strap. And now what we're going to do is that we're going to turn the lining side out. And the exterior is now going to be tucked into the bag. Just like this. And we're gonna put our strap inside. So we have this like bowl. So our lining's on the outside, exterior's on the inside, tucked inside nicely. And now we're gonna grab our back panel, and we're gonna unzip our zipper open to the bottom. So now we're gonna find our centers. I do not have my centers marked, so let me do that real quick. I got my centers, so now I want to make sure that when I lay my back panel right sides together, so wrong sides are up, right side together, inside. So I want to make sure that the top of my bag is correct, and the zipper, while it's open, is at the bottom. At the bottom. So my zipper is open, zipper pull is at the bottom. So I want to flip it right side down, tucking my D-rings in. And we're going to find our centers, and we're going to clip all of our centers first. I'll do the top, and I'll do the bottom, and then I'll do the sides. Okay, and once you've got all your corners clipped, go ahead and finish clipping all the way around. Alright, I've gone ahead and attached the back panel, and now we're going to go and take this to the machine, and we're going to sew this on at 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around. She suggests to turn it around and sew it this way. So the exterior side up and back side down. So we're gonna take the suggestion, and that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna smush it down, and I'm gonna sew all the way around at 1/2 inch seam allowance. So we've gone ahead and trimmed down our seams, and she does recommend to go ahead and turn the bag right side out at this time to make sure that you've caught all the layers in your seam and to check your work. But I'm gonna go ahead and just run my fingers through, and everything feels good to me. It looks like I have caught all my seams. I may have a little bit of pleating right there. Maybe, we'll see, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. And we're gonna go ahead and just leave it like this for now. If you wanna go ahead and check your work, I recommend you do that. Just turn it right side out. Make sure all your seams are caught in the seams, and if it hasn't, just go ahead and go back to your machine and do one row of stitching again. If everything looks good, we're gonna go ahead and keep moving on. And the top of my bag, I can look inside my bag and I know this is the top of my bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and start binding. So we have our binding here, and we're going to cut my corners off. And then we're gonna fold it down. So we cut it and then we fold it, just like that. And then we're gonna start at the top. And we're gonna start clipping our way around. Alright, we've reached the end here where my tail meets where I started. So I'm gonna clip just past it, about there. Make a little bit of a straighter cut. And then I'm gonna clip my ends just like I did when I started. I'm going to fold that under. It's a little long, so I'm gonna go a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to undo this, fold it under where I had started. And clip. All right, now we're gonna go sew this on at, I'm gonna do a 1/4 inch or so. It does not say, it does say that all the seam allowances are 1/2 inch, but if we do a 1/2 inch, that's gonna get us real close to this edge and we may not catch the other side. So what I'm gonna do is a 1/4 inch or so. That's what I'm gonna do. All right. So our binding is on. Make sure that you've caught your binding all the way around. And I have. So now we're going to turn the bag right side out. All right, she's right side out. There we go. So now we're gonna zip it up. We're gonna have to do a little steaming on it to Get some of the creases out, but not too bad. Look how cute. Haha. All right, so now we are going to add the rest of our hardware to our strap, and we are done with this bag. Now we're gonna attach our swivel and our slider. So make sure that your webbing is nice and straight. So I kind of like to rub my hands on it to make sure there's no twists. Go to the end and thread on my slider. So we're going to go through the top, around the bar, and thread that through. And then we are going to thread through the swivel hook, and we want the swivel hook to be on top. So this is what we have. So now we're going to turn it around, and we're going to take the end of our webbing, and we're going to push our webbing through so we have a little bit of slack underneath, just like that. And we're going to grab our end of our webbing, we're going to go up over the bar, just like that, up over the bar and back under. So now we have, this is the slack where we adjust, and then we just push this through right here, and we are going to attach it. So this is what it looks like. It is around the bar. This is the section we adjust, and our swivel's right here. So we are going to sew this end. I'm going to sew it right across here, and then I'm going to do 2 rivets. Alright, so I've gone ahead and sewn my line of stitching, and now I'm going to install my rivets. This is not in the pattern, this is just if it's something you want to do. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to go ahead and eyeball this and hand punch my holes, insert a rivet, those might be a little long, and then go to the other side, eyeball that, looks about right. Alright, just like that. And then use my rivet press. And there we are. She's now done. So that's our bag. Alright, what did everyone think? What a fun bag to sew, huh? So cute. I love this bag. And I want to say thank you to Linds for allowing me to use your patterns in my tutorials. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I absolutely love this bag. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I will try to get back to all of you. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing and giving the video a like. And until next time, bye!